Here's how you can test multiple different variations of your strategy with just a single backtest. My name's Dave Mabe. I've been trading 25 plus strategies every day for the past 20 years. And I just recorded a podcast with Michael called Line Your Own Pockets. And we discussed adding columns to your column library to be able to optimize your strategies better over time. And one of the things I mentioned there was being able to test different variations of a strategy with just running one back test. So I thought I'd explain why and how this works. So let's say you have a strategy that holds all day. You've got a time exit at the end of the day, but you're curious how the strategy would perform if you exited everything at, say, noon or 2 o'clock or 3 or 4 o'clock, different variations of your strategy. Normally what you do here is create a different exit, run a whole different back test for each of these variations, and compare the results. Well, if your back test takes a long time to run, that could take forever. It could take all weekend, right? Even longer. So one way to get your answer here with just a single back test is to add what I call exit columns to your back test. So normally when you think about columns in your column library, you're thinking about columns that you can know about before the entry. So you can use those to create a rule to improve your strategy. Well, you can also add exit columns. So these are columns that you can know about after the entry. Now, of course, you can't optimize on these for the purposes of your entry, but you can use them as ways to answer questions you have about exiting your strategy, exactly like this, what I just described. So you could add a column that captures the profit at noon, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. You could have different columns for each of those points. And then you run one back test. You have your overall profit. That's whatever your sort of your baseline is. And then you have these other columns that you can use to compare against that baseline. So you've run one back test, and instead of having to run several variations, you run one back test and you can get your answer that way. And there's lots of different things you can do to add different columns here to be, once you get creative and you can figure out different ways to get different answers that you need by just running one back test. So it's a nice way to do it. Just make sure you don't optimize on those variables that you can only know about after the trade or the entry time. That will, of course, look in the future. So keep those separate, but it's a really nice way to be able to save a lot of time. All right, talk to you next time.